Hey everybody, welcome to this question and answer session with the Pattern Trader. My name is Mark Shawzin, the Pattern Trader. I'll be with you in 1 minute. Hey Yokan, how are you? Please let me know what you're trading or any questions you might have. Be happy to answer any questions. I had a free live webinar series yesterday, and in front of several hundred people. The one stock that I focused on, or the one opportunity where I said that there is no doubt in my mind what was going to go on, it was in the stock of QuantumScape, QS. And today there must have been some news that broke, and QuantumScape is down like 10%. So I don't know if any of you were on that webinar. Let me know if you were. But QuantumScape is something that I've been really looking at. I loaded up on the put options, the 41 and the 40 put options, and now the stock's trading around 35, 30, between 35, 60. It's down 12% right now. So gold and silver rising. Yep. Gold put in a significant double bottom, and it's doing what something does when it puts in, a bottom. Hey, Eric, how you doing? So Dragon says, is the Nasdaq a potential double top? I don't know. We had a reversal yesterday. Now we're going up again today. And then tomorrow, if we have another reversal, then it'll start solidifying things. So I think we are getting close to a top in these markets. So Kirby says, I heard that the other day. Great call. So yeah, I spent about 20 minutes on the opening segment of my webinar yesterday only looking at QuantumScape. And to me, this really supports why price is ahead of the news. Price is ahead of whatever is going to happen. So something must have come out. I was out of the office this morning. Let me see if I'm just going to put up QuantumScape and see if there's any news. QuantumScape game, what you should know, blah, blah, blah. I don't see anything. Decreased pre-market explanation. So there's always some explanation. So let's see. It says today, the stock of QuantumScape fell by over 5% during the pre-market hours. Investors are responding negatively to a short report by Scorpion Capital. So to me, people always ask, do I look at the news? And the answer is no. To me, the price is ahead of the news. So whatever Scorpion Capital said has been reflected in the stock price for weeks now. And so I don't have to know what Scorpion said or didn't say or whatever. I said this last night to hundreds of people when QuantumScape was trading at 42, and now we're trading at 35. That this thing was the biggest short opportunity. I couldn't see any risk in this thing. And what pisses me off is that I was going to short it this morning, and before I could short it, it just opened lower. I already had, many, put options. I'm probably making about 100 grand on those put options, so I guess I shouldn't complain. But I was going to short about 50,000 shares because last night there's a show in America called Mad Money with this analyst, this guy Jim Cramer. He's a Wall Street guy. And he was going through all of the SPACs, these special purpose acquisition companies, which is how I think QuantumScape became public. And he was saying how all these SPACs are terrible. The only one SPAC that he likes is QuantumScape. So literally after I finished my webinar, I turned on the TV and Jim Cramer saying that QuantumScape is, really great. And then QuantumScape was up, in the aftermarket session based on, I guess, what Jim Cramer was saying, and I wanted to short into that. And before I could short into it, the thing just opened down. So to me, the timing of this report coincides with exactly what's been happening in the price action. So price is ahead of the news. And so I look for the QuantumScapes, of the world to try and, set up my trades. Eric says, do you think Tesla can hold 700? Probably not. QuantumScape is just getting detonated here. Gap down, sitting on the low. And I said last night, it was trading at about $41. I said, if I get back to you, whether you guys in 3 to 6 months, I think the stock will be 50% lower, trading at $20. So, we're already, getting there today. So Tesla. So some people, accuse me of being, a fraud or whatever, but I say these things in front of hundreds of people. So, so Tesla had a very bearish key reversal, and it's got this uptrend line. Let me see where this uptrend line coincides. And if we pierce through that uptrend line again, I think you're going to smoke lower. So let me just. So this uptrend line comes in probably around 625 or so. And if we puncture 625, I think we go to 300. So yesterday Tesla had a very nasty key reversal. Made a new high, went to about $780, closed at $730, $50 key reversal. And then, it looks like, it's probably all over there. Am I still in Tesla? No, I actually started shorting it a little bit yesterday, playing around on the short side. And I was out today, and I just shorted Zoom. So when Zoom opened $5 higher, I just shorted into that. And what is Zoom doing today? Zoom is, on the low of the day, trading at 329. So I shorted Zoom. So what I do is I look at the pattern, figure out, I've been saying that I really love Zoom on the downside. 2 days ago, we had this huge short covering rally, and I knew it was nonsense. It was just BS. And so yesterday we had a key reversal, went to 342, went to 330, closed at like 334, closed on the low of the day. Closed around 329. And then today on the opening, it opened up $5. So to me, when I have like a key reversal behind me where it made a reversal of price, I just sell into that knowing what my risk is. So I sold into this thing $5 higher, and now it's $6 lower. So, and I think Zoom is going to be crunch time also. Eric says, thanks for your insight. You're always welcome, Eric. So Bella, here's the thing. Bella says, I do not understand why gold went up so much. So understanding is contrary to making money in the markets. Let me say that again. Understanding is contrary to making money. So people think, well, if I just am smart enough, if I can look at all the information and assimilate the information, then I should be able to make an intellectual decision. So the markets are a discounting effect. I don't know why QuantumScape's going down, nor do I care. I don't spend time looking at their balance sheet and their future prospects and their discounted cash flows. And I don't think about any. I don't think. Understanding is not what it's about. You just got to surrender to the will of the market. But, in order to do that, you've got to understand how the market is showing you where something is going to go. So first off, I've been saying that gold put in this big double bottom, and that is a bottoming price pattern. So Bella, all I look at are price action and price patterns. I don't look at anything to understand anything about whatever I trade. I trade everything from soybeans to, euro yen to gold to QuantumScape. And so how can I possibly manage all of that if I'm trying to understand, what I'm, trading? By the time I digest everything about QuantumScape and the financials, and guess what? If you pull out the balance sheet and the last quarterly report and you look at all of the numbers, that's not going to tell you much because that's about yesterday. And the markets are about tomorrow. The markets are looking 3 months ahead, 6 months ahead, 9 months ahead. So sometimes you see a company release great earnings report and then the stock is down a whole bunch. It's because, the market's saying, okay, it's like, what are you going to do for me tomorrow? It's fine what you did for me last quarter. Now the market's looking forward. So I look at the market. I look at patterns, trends, price action to make certain decisions about how things are going to go one way or another. And once I understand the pattern and the trend, then I just get in sync with that. I don't ask any questions. I don't try and understand why something's going, and here's the thing, while you think that maybe the market looks oversold right now or every historical metric looks expensive, the market can stay oversold. The market can, stay irrational a lot longer than you can stay solvent. So let's say you go back and you see some historical metric where, the average PE multiple in the S&P is, 19, and now we're trading at 23. And you say, well, now it's time to short. Well, that's not true. The market can stay expensive for, a lot longer than you can, keep shorting at it. So, the market will give you a pattern when it's ready to, go lower. I was also buying Lyft. I'm also long WRK. I've talked about all of those the last couple times we've gotten together. So, my portfolio has gotten a real lift today. I'm long QuantumScape puts. I'm long Lyft, which is up a couple bucks. I'm long WRK. So, and I don't understand, Bella, I don't understand anything about these companies. I barely know what WRK does peripherally. I don't really care. It doesn't make any difference to me. I just look at the trend of the price pattern, WRK, and that's all I need to know. You're welcome, Bella. Any other questions? Anything you guys are looking at? Cyprian says, what do you think about EOG? It's not coming up. Am I reading it right? EOG? I'm not getting any, I'm not getting anything for that symbol. I don't know what that is. So the pattern on gold is that you have a double bottom price pattern where a couple weeks ago you went down to 1670, you bounced up to 1750, then you retested it, you went down to 1670 again, and then you came up, and now you got this perfect double bottom. So Cyprian, I'm not getting, I don't know what the ticker symbol is. Nothing's coming up for EOG. So I don't know what that is. I can try it again. And nothing is coming up for that. So I don't know what that is. If that's some obscure, let me make sure that maybe there's something wrong with my charts. Hang on a second. There's something that, okay, no, this came up. It was a little delayed. Let me see. Okay, there it is. There was something. So EOG resources. I mean, this looks like in a pretty good uptrend. And I think, that's where the plays will be in some kind of commodities. Yeah, I like this a lot. I like this a lot. So this looks like lift to me. We had a huge double bottom around the 30, and you've got this consolidation now. And the longer it kind of hangs out here between, I like that a lot. So Cyprian, you always bring me some good charts to look at. I like this a lot. Yeah, I think you could, buy that. And I mean, I think you have to be patient, but I'm going to write that one down, make sure that I remember that. Yeah, I like that one a lot. EOG. Let me just check out the options on this. Sometimes when I'm thinking that something's going to break out, I'll buy, options, calls in the event that I want to take something higher. I just want to see how they're priced. So obviously, tomorrow's option expiration is going off the board tomorrow. So I'm looking at April 23rd for the $73 calls. They're pretty expensive, $2. Let me, and the thing is, you have to be right about this thing breaking out. And this thing could just stay in this little consolidation for a while. This may not be ready to go yet, but it's something that I would, watch. But if you're patient, yeah, I think that's something that you could own. Yeah, Richard, sorry, I think there was something, just a delay with my charts here for some reason. Yeah, so I like that. TRY. I don't know if I'm just having a delay here or. So Dog says, one thing I've learned from listening to you over the past few weeks is not to force a trade just because I want to trade. And so, Dog, that's first off a realization that probably takes people years to understand, if ever. So it's, this is really about impulse control, right? And I know I have a problem with it, because we see, so many, shiny objects in front of us. It's, hard not to want to chase it. But for me, really what it comes down to is finding a setup that I can understand. And if I can understand something, then I'll load up, because even if it kind of goes against, like QuantumScape, I was long the puts. Yesterday, the stock went down. And then in the aftermarket, it was showing that it was, kind of nice, substantially higher, like $1 higher, which on a $40 stock is, 2% move. And I wasn't scared about that, that rise. In fact, I called my broker today to put it on the easy to borrow list so I could short more into that rise. It's like kind of Zoom. When Zoom opened higher, I wasn't like questioning myself. I just actually looked at that as an opportunity. But you have to understand what the setup is, in order to put all of that together. And if you're trading off a 15-minute chart, then everything looks random. You don't know why you're doing anything. You're just doing something off a Bollinger Band moving average, crossover. So to me, that you're not going to make money long-term doing that. So yeah. So to me, I trade off the daily charts, which is not as much fun as a 15-minute chart because, you're not seeing so many setups, but it keeps you on the straight and narrow. I can kind of see the forest for the trees. Yeah, so there is overhead resistance, but, I think that if you look at the weeklies here on EOG, we're, banging at the upside of this resistance level. Kind of like WRK, just working its way through a resistance level. Yeah, I wouldn't even look at that 83. The most near-term resistance on this thing is about 77. So we're about $4 away. If you clear that, then I think you're going to see some blue skies ahead in EOG. So I like this. I don't know. There's probably even a dividend attached to it. And so you get paid for just holding this. So to my mind, you could probably, So I'm looking at the dividend. Yeah, you get 2.2%, 2.25%, which is better than the money you get in the bank. So it's like a commodity play where you get paid a return while you're just sitting around. So while it's just kind of banging around, you're getting a return on your money, and that's better than the bank. MK says, what about shorting euro here? Probably not. No, I wouldn't short the euro here. In fact, I would be looking to buy it. The dollar's in a long-term downtrend, which means the euro versus the US dollar is over time going to go higher. Now, the euro versus US dollar can go into a long-term sideways funk, but I would not short it here. I don't think there's enough gas in the tank to get anything out of a short here. In fact, I would look to buy it over the 120 high. I'd put a buy stop, let it, kind of do its thing here. And then once it shakes it out, I would buy it on new momentum. Cyprian says, what do you think about XAS? EXAS. Yeah, I mean, it's an upward chart. It's got some, headwinds in the near term. I don't know. On one hand, you have a double top at 160, and then you have this uptrend line, and it's just kind of in this consolidation. It kind of feels like, this thing will break higher. That double top's probably a fake top, but it could take a while to clear through the underbrush. So I think this is what I talked about on my webinar series last night, where I showed the chart of QuantumScape and then also the chart of like Zoom. So both charts that I really like on the downside. The thing with QuantumScape is that it was trading on a ledge. It was trading on the absolute lows that this stock has made. So the whole history of the stock was above the price where we are. There was like what I call no obstruction. It was just free to fall, through. There was no price history, that or resistance areas or anything, support levels. Where Zoom, has got this clutter between 300 and 330. It's got all this underbrush to clear through to kind of go through that. I think it will, but to me, QuantumScape was just a clear boom. Now, XAS, I think, looks like it's going to go higher, but it's got to get through all of this stuff first. So I think it goes up. I just think it, just got to, it could be in a trading range for a while. Richard says, what about pound New Zealand? Trade's gotten more complicated. And, again, even if you say, look, I want to short this thing, now you got to say, I've got to, get through all of these levels at 191, 189, 180. And the way this is going, maybe you could do that. It looks pretty bad right now. But it looks also complicated. So, to me, like QuantumScape looks much easier to short than pound New Zealand. So that's what I try and do. I try and find risk reward opportunities that, I can see go, a path forward. Pound New Zealand, yeah, maybe it keeps dropping, but I don't know. I find it very difficult to see that it's going to drop through all of this history between, 187 and 192. So, I suspect it may have to put on, some consolidation here, do some work. And then if it looks like it's going to roll over at some other point, then I'll take it then. Dragon says, I'm long pound dollar at 137. Yeah, if I'm going to, go short the dollar, I like the Australian dollar versus the US dollar. Dragon. So, yeah, I think pound is stalling. I think it'll eventually go higher because I think the dollar is going to go lower against every currency. But the one that I like is the Australian dollar. Um, maybe even the New Zealand dollar. Cyprian FCX. Yeah, so Freeport, another commodity play. I think commodity plays are going to work long term. I think when the stock market starts coming off, I think we're going to enter a period of stagflation, right? Where we have inflation with stagnant growth. The worst thing for the stock market. And so, also, what it might mean is that you're going to have very meager returns. I think we've been spoiled. We've had a year in the stock market that's gone straight up, and now I just think you're going to, get a lot of this. And so it's really going to become a stock pickers market where you really have to hone in on individual opportunities. You can't just count on the indexes taking you. So FCX looks, really good here. I just don't like. There's been a lot of volatility in this area. Whenever volatility picks up, it implies. But I think we're just putting on a consolidation for the next move. So we've been kind of going between 30 and 39, and it probably will break that and put on the next move. So commodity plays like long term, like FCX, I think will definitely work. But again, it's a whole different mentality. So FCX has got this giant bottom at like $4, broke above that neckline around 20. Now we've just been consolidating, and now it's looking like it's ready for the next push. So, I think and that's probably got a dividend also, that you get paid while you're hanging out in these things. Let me just check that out. That's a small dividend. It's less than 1%. As the stock goes higher, obviously the dividend percentage payout goes lower. Your Euro USD, to me, it's inverted head and shoulders, Mervin, on the euro. Yeah, so I think these commodity plays, will work long term. All right. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Just looking at QuantumScape. I'm looking at Zoom. Zoom is just, it's batting between these trading ranges here. Yeah, I think Zoom is going to break down too. Yeah, for sure. CPRT. Yeah, this looks like a monster too. It's heading into that resistance at 130. So that would be the only hesitation. It looks like this has got some steam. It's like got some momentum, but it's getting close to that resistance level. But to me, it's kind of invalidating. To me, this looks like a busted pattern. So we had a double top pattern in CPRT at 130, and then it just briefly broke the neckline and then came all the way back. So it kind of busted the implications of that pattern. So very often we see patterns. It looks like a double top. It was a double top. But ultimately, if the market doesn't tell you that it's working in the way a double top should, then it's actually going to do the opposite. So almost for the same reason that the double top, didn't work, would be the reason that I would just buy this. It's a busted pattern. So if the market's not going to do one thing, if it's not going to go down, then it's going to, it has to do the other and go up. So all I would say is that you're going to close in on some resistance here, but I think long term this thing looks like a winner. So, Cyprian, you look at some. I've heard of all of these things. I watch so many, so many tickers, but you can only, close in or hone in on so many. So I always like talking to you guys. Let's see. Eric says, if Tesla ends up closing green today, would that be considered a reversal? It'd be complicated because then you would have a reversal yesterday and then a reversal today. And then, I'll have to see how it closes. But right now, I'm not getting a warm and fuzzy about what it feels. So tomorrow, if it closes like this today, and then it goes higher tomorrow, then you kind of have this double, top kind of thing with an inside, kind of narrow range bar in between. So it's going to be interesting tomorrow. If it reverses higher today, it would be question about how much reversal. It's a really a mess right now. So I would have to see it to just see Tesla on the. So it's going to be interesting to see how we close tomorrow because, then I look at the daily bars, but then I also look at the weekly bars, and if Tesla closes, closer to the low, then that would give me, more information. It's just that Tesla's got so much consolidation between 500 and 700. There's so many weekly bars there that to go through those would be difficult. So I think Tesla is going to be a bit of a trading affair right now. And that's why, it's complicated. Where for me, QuantumScape, there was no complication. I said it to 500 people last night before it broke today. And so that's what I look for, things where I can see a clear path without any kind of crap between, the upside and the downside. And, Tesla's going to be, interesting to see how the path of least resistance still feels higher. That's the less complicated, direction. So we'll see. Let's see how we finish today. PAYC. Yeah, I can see what you're looking at here too. Let me just look at the weekly. Yeah, I think you're right on that too, Cyprian. I think that'll end up being looks like a busted pattern also. So this is in a big uptrend, and it looks like it's just putting a bottom to break above that 400 again. Eric says, appreciate your analysis. Good call on QS. Yeah, I'm just pissed that I wasn't able to. I was going to sell 50,000 shares into the opening today because it closed yesterday at about 40.85. And then Jim Cramer last night, said, I like this stock. And then it was trading around 41.50. It was up about, 70, 80 cents from yesterday's close. And I was just going to sell into that. I called my broker today to, put it on the easy to borrow list. And before I could short it, it was down $4 on the day. So, it's kind of a good and a bad day. I mean, it's, I shouldn't be upset about making a lot of money on the puts, but I could have, it was really kind of a smaller position. Puts you're never sure. And my puts are expiring tomorrow. So it's kind of lucky that it broke today. And I will look for another opportunity to short the stock on QS because now it's broken. Now there's just nowhere to go but lower. So I'll wait for some consolidation. And no, I don't think it's going to test the neckline, Cyprian. I think this is a good night gap lower. Yeah, this is gone. The whole history of this stock has been a distribution. The whole history, all the insiders, all the pros have been getting out. And then Jim Cramer's, telling the retail traders that, this is a great buy. It's, I don't understand these guys. But if you don't know what you're looking at, then it's hard not to listen to the expert like Jim Cramer. So that's why I say you really shouldn't listen to anybody about the market, not even me. And I'm pretty good at what I do, I think. But you got to do your own analysis and, just put on risk reward. You're not going to be right every time, but if you kind of understand how trade set up, how to create your risk reward, that's the only thing to listen to. Don't get on blogs. Don't look at Newsweek or, the Wall Street Journal. The markets are ahead of the news. Everything you want to know about QuantumScape is in this little, very simple price. I can see this thing and understand exactly what it's telling me. So I didn't have to see some firm write some newsletter that, they think this thing's going down. Kirby says, with QS Mark, what was the key part of the pattern that motivated? Well, the whole pattern, the whole life of this pattern. When, this was a recent IPO, from the, or SPAC reverse merger. From the moment it went public, it went higher from $25 all the way to 132, went straight higher. And then it crashed all the way back down to $50 and then formed this, double top head and shoulders. So from the inception, it was over. This thing was done, from the get-go. And then you've just been trading in this cadence back and forth. And I've been shorting all of the highs. Every time it made, high from, $40 to $65, I just short there. And so you have this kind of double top at 65. Then you had another double top at 52. And then you had these lower highs. And the whole thing, the whole life of this thing was telling me that this thing is over. We're going to $15 on this thing. 8, whatever number you want to put on it. This thing's done. Dirty deeds done dirt cheap. It's over. Walter says, any advice on pound New Zealand dollar? No. It's kind of broken the upside momentum. But then now if you're thinking of shorting it, it has to go through, a lot of stuff between, 188 and 192. Maybe you can do it. It looks like it's coming down like So I would just leave it alone for now. I've got no position in there. And we'll see what happens. ATVI. Yeah, that thing looks like it's got some mileage back to the old highs around 104. And then I think you'll hit some resistance, but it looks like it's still got some momentum to carry it. You just got to be careful that the momentum doesn't stop between here and 104 stop, and then you have a down move. So it's kind of in betwixt. Yeah, I could see that you'll have some momentum out of here, and then to 104. Have you ever thought of trading Bitcoin? I did trade Bitcoin early on, and then I lost, and then I got out, and I never came back. And I remember sitting on, every Friday I do a session called Master Pattern Trader, where we get together and we look at price charts, and I go through the everything that I'm looking at. And I remember Bitcoin was a breakout of the symmetrical triangle. If you joined all of the tops from $20,000 down, and then you drew, the support from 4,000 on up, there was a perfect symmetrical triangle. And there was a breakout at about $9,000, $10,000. And I was saying to, the people, all of our members on that thing, I said, this is breaking out. And I never took my own advice. I probably just because I was trading so many other things at the time. Um, and the other thing is I just can't wrap my head around how Bitcoin is valued. Now, again, that's contrary to what I said, earlier. Forgot to who that, you shouldn't try and understand anything. Market's a market. Whatever it's trading is trading. The problem with Bitcoin was its price history. So its price history, it went from 40 cents to $20,000, like a meteor. And then it went from $20,000 down to 4,000. So very hard to kind of, look at that. But again, I was looking at the symmetrical triangle where after a while it kind of sorted itself out and it was a breakout. And look, I didn't buy it. It's one of those life's regrets. My wife owns it. She's the rich one in the family. So she loves crypto. She spends all day, all night on these, TikTok crypto websites. It is fascinating. It's just a fascinating new world. And I have no doubt that it's going to change a lot of things. I just don't know how to think about, Bitcoin, because how does the value of Bitcoin become, how do you create that value? Because, just because you use the blockchain, that, it doesn't mean that every time somebody uses it, there's a revenue created. And then that revenue is thrown back to the Bitcoin Corporation. And then you have shareholders in the Bitcoin Corporation, and then they, get a piece of those earnings. So I don't quite know how it's valued. I shouldn't really worry about it. It's now, just become a mainstream adoption thing. And it's just hard, if you didn't buy something at 5,000 to start thinking about buying something at 65,000. I think this other crypto, the Ethereum, it has a very valuable platform. So that's probably one to look at. It's $2,500. I guess I was always looking for that shakeout, where if it, really kind of came down to earth, maybe I'd take a look at it. And so, yeah, it's been in a, kind of an ascending triangle recently and lower highs. So it looked like it was going to break out again from that 60. And then we went to 64. So maybe you go to 100,000 on this move. But quite honestly, I don't own it. And I'm just watching these things. Wow, Tesla just can't get any strength in here. So I think I'm going to leave it there. Cyprian says, what are your thoughts on J&J? I think it's a dull stock. It's a dividend stock if you want to hold around for a dividend. It probably got oversold on this, injection news. They will come back. They're a great company. It's much more than just this, but it's, this is a buy and hold. One of those things that you have to have a 3-5 year horizon, hold it for the dividend. So, it's that kind of thing. And, even in my conservative money, I have my conservative money working, in other areas. J&J is one of those things where you don't have to ever worry about, if we had another crash, J&J will be fine. It just, it's actually, breaking out on the upside of a, long weekly, broke, 155 was a long weekly resistance. And so this is probably a catalyst to buy it. This whole injection thing is just probably a misdirect. It's probably a fraction of its business. There's some reputational damage in there, but I think it's probably a catalyst to buy it. But, I can't see, if it goes from 161 to 168, I'm looking for Zoom to do that today. SOXL, and then I'll leave it there, Eric. So I'm not sure that I'm getting the right prices for XOSL. I'm not. I don't know why. You talk about it every day. Is it trading at $631 now? SOXL. If so, I think I've remarked there's a lot of volatility here. It does look like it's flagging. I don't know what this is. I don't know if I'm looking at a price chart that's correct. All right, Dre, I'll look at the pound yen and then I'll wrap it up there. So yeah, pound yen has got this huge key reversal at, a massive resistance thing. Then you've got an inside weak bar. And I'd be inclined to short under this week's lows. But on the other hand, I've been looking at euro yen and it's just coiling at the upper end of this thing. So to me, the yen pairs, are creating some mystery. On the other hand, it looks like dollar yen is really where the opportunity is on the short side. So I would be inclined to, so these yen pairs could be at a major inflection point where they're, ready to roll lower. Yes, Eric, I don't know why I'm not getting up to date SOXL. There's probably another is that the semiconductor? It's a 3-time ETX. Well, I'm not getting like the SMH is. If you look at the SMH, which is another semiconductor thing, it's an ETF. That thing's right at the highs. Right at the all-time highs. I mean, that thing has just made a major move and looks like it's, going to go higher. So I don't know what I'm looking at it, what you're looking at, Eric, but the semis look like they're in a strong bull move. And if you can get a 3x on it, then, just obviously got to watch the risk reward, but it seems like, the path of least resistance is higher. So QuantumScape is almost $35 right now. And Zoom is heading toward the low of the day. So my portfolio is all good today. All right, guys. I'm going to, leave you there. Thanks a lot for checking in. If you want to check out my webinar series later on, you can message our support team for the link. I probably should know the link. I don't have it. Just message our support team. It's at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And, I'll do a live webinar where I'll actually go to the charts and show you what I'm looking at on the chart. Eric, thanks a lot. You always bring me some great ideas. I'm going to check out EOG. Keep that on my to-do list. All right, thanks, guys. We'll see you next time. Have a great, healthy, and prosperous